Good morning to you all. Today we are going to look at this very simple construction project management. I got this dummy data from somewhere and decided to come out with something very simple, which I want to share with you. Now, when you look at the screen here, you have the filter. You can filter by date. You can add as many filters as you want. You can add the project managers. You can add the project types. You can add anything that you want. Here we have the navigation. We have on our left here, we have the KPIs, the number of project, number of tasks, the cost, the budget, and the profit, which is the difference between the cost and the budget. We have the project utilization and the project completion. We have the cost and budget by month. So here we have the total budget on top. We have the cost down here. We have the total profit by month, the project counts by project status, the task by priority, task by progress group. We have task by project type. We have task by location. Here also you can make it better by adding maybe a table with the location so that the user can click. But also you can put your cursor here to get the task count. You can also add the profit, the um, budget, the cost to the tooltip. Here we have a summary where we have the project managers, the task, the overdue task. We have the cost, the project, the budget, the profit, utilization percentage, and the completion percentage. On the second page here, we have the project timeline. You can filter by project name. You can search by project name here or the task name. And then we have the project. The tasks are grouped by project, and then you have the status which shows completed, in progress, and pending. Okay, so when you put your cursor here, you can see various information about that particular task. Okay, so without wasting too much time, let's go and get our blank Power BI desktop. I've already loaded the file. I'll make available the file. So project management. So here in this table, we have project ID, project name, project type, location, start date, end date, project status, priority, task ID, task name, task status, assigned to. This is for the project managers. We have hours spent, budget, actual cost, and the progress made so far. Okay, so I want to do a bit of I want to create some few more tables from this. I did something like this in my previous video, so I'm going to make it very quick. So we are going to have a different table for project type, different table for location. So I'll do that of project type, do the merging, and then you can do the rest yourself. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate this table, and the first one I want to tackle is the project type. So dimension. So I'm creating a dimension table, dim project type. And then in that, I want to keep only the project type column. So I'll just right click, remove all other columns. So I have this. The next thing to do is to remove duplicate. Okay. And then the next one is to go to add column tab here and then select index column. And then I want it starting from 1. Okay, so I'll change the name. I can double click here or just change the name from here. So this is going to be project type ID. Okay, then I press enter and I get it here. Now I can just change it, move it to this side. So I have the project type, which I'll now merge into this and then take this out. So I'll link this project type dimension table to the main table by the project type ID, which I have here. Okay, so let me now select the project management. I'll go home. I'll go to merge query. Okay, select merge queries. I'll make sure I select the project type column. Then I'll go for the project type table. I'll select this as well. You can see the selection matches 300 of 300 rows from the first table. Then I'll click OK. Once I do that, I have a new column here which has tables. So I'll click here I'll deselect all of them, then select only project type ID. Once done, now that I have project type ID, it means that this table has already been linked to this by the project type ID. I can now go and take out the project type column. So I'll just right click and remove. Okay, very good. So I'm going to create a few more dimension tables for location, project status, priority, tax status, assigned to. Okay, so I'll pause the video, do that, and it's going to be the same process I use for project type. If you have any issue, let me know. Okay, so I have created few more dimension tables. So you can see here, location, we have project status, we have the priority, we have the task status, we have the project manager. Mind you, in the project management table here, the column name is assigned to. So what I did was to just rename the column name here, which is project manager and project manager ID. Okay, so now let's close and apply. Okay, so once applied, let's go to our model view here and see if everything is okay. So we can see the project management table here. So what I can do is to drag one dimension table here, one other one here. So location is not linked to it by location ID. So let me check. So probably mistakenly I've removed the location ID unknowingly. So let's go back to the transform data and check if we have the location ID here. Okay, so location ID has not been added to this. So let me roll back what I did earlier by removing columns. So I'll roll it back. Once done, those columns will come back here. So I can see my location column here. So let me do the merge again. I'll select location. I'll go to dim location and then link it with this. You can see the selection matches 300 of 300 rows from the first table. So I'll click OK. So we have that now. I'll just go here and deselect. The others maintain only location ID. Okay, so now I can go back and remove these columns. So location, I'll press my control and then click project status, priority, task status, assigned to. Right click and remove column. So now I can go back to close and apply. So here we can see priority ID. I'll link it to priority ID here. I'll click save. Location is already done. Let me bring the other tables here. This will be here. Let me put this here. There's one more, two more. There are two more. So let me bring this also. Come this way. I'll link the project type ID to the project type ID here. One to many relationship. Here, the project ID, project manager ID will be linked to the project manager ID here. Project status ID with the project status ID. And the task status ID with the task status ID. Let me scroll down. Okay, so we have the task status ID here. Okay, so I can now go back to my report view. But before then, let me create my calendar table. And to create a calendar table, I have the measure here. So I'll go to the table view. I'll click new table because I want to create a new table. Then I'll just paste it here. The table name will be calendar. And then what it's doing is the calendar auto is going through all tables, picking the date, getting me the minimum and maximum date to create a date. And then out of that, I can get these columns: year, month number, weekday, week number, and so on and so forth. Okay, so let me commit this. So I have the table created here. I can now go back to my model view and then link the date with the start date. In this column, we have start date and end date. So I'll link it first to the start date, and then I'll link it also to the end date. Just that with the end date, the relationship will not be active. Okay, so I'll click save. Okay, that's it. So I can go back here and start creating my measures. What are the measures that we need to create? Let me go to overview. Here we need to create the number of projects, the number of tasks, the cost, the budget, and the profit. Okay, so let me go and create my measures. But before creating the measures, I want to create a table that will keep my measures. So I'll just name it all measures. Then I'll click load. Okay, so you can see the table created here. Now I can right click and click new measure. So this is going to be project. So we are going to count. I'm going to use distinct count because there is repetition because of the task in the table. Let me finish with that, then we'll go and check the table. So distinct count, project name, project ID, rather. So now let's go and look at the table. When we go to table view and select the project management table, you can see P007, 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 just because we have the task here. Task 001, task 002, task 003, you see, belong to the same project. Okay, so that is why we have repetition here. Now for us to get the number of projects, we need to make sure we use the distinct. Okay, so we have the number of projects here. I want to create the number of tasks as well. So task count will be count rows, project management. Okay, so the next one is the cost. So to get the cost, we use the sum function to calculate the actual cost. Okay, and then the next one is the budget. So budget will be sum budget. Okay, so the profit is not going to strictly be budget minus cost. We are only going to create the profit on the project that have been completed. So let's, how do we go about that? So what I'll do is, let's quickly look at the table again. So you can see that in the project management table, we have the start and the end date. Okay, so what we need to do is to first check if the project status is completed. Once the project status is completed, so let's go to task status. We have in progress completed, which is 2, pending is 3. So we are going to calculate the profit on completed task. Okay, so this is going to be new measure. So profit will be, we are going to divide rather Sorry, there's something that I'm missing here. For profit is going to be calculate. So we'll do budget minus cost, and then we'll filter it by completed task. So task status ID is equal to 2. Remember, 2 is for completed. So this is going to give us the profit. Okay, so now the next one to do, let's look at what we need to do next. So we have 1, 2, 3. So now we are going to calculate the budget utilization and the project completion. Okay, so for budget utilization, let me create a new measure. Budget utilization will divide cost by budget. So default 0. Okay, very good. And then we are going to also calculate the project completion percentage. Okay, so new measure. So project completion percentage will be, we are dividing the sum of the progress. So we have a column for progress. Okay, so the sum of progress, sorry, by the number of projects. And this also, we can create one for task completion. So let's create one for task completion. I didn't do that in the previous one, but let's just create task completion. And this is going to be task. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let me bring in my first visual, so my card. But before then, I want to change the size of my background. I change it to, I think I change the width to, so to change that, we go to canvas settings, we go to type, custom, then here I change the height to 800. Okay, and then I'll bring in my background, which I had already designed with the PowerPoint. So let's go and bring it in. So we bring in this. It's not going to show until I set this to 0. Okay, so we have this here. So the next thing to do is to bring in my visual. So I'm going to use the new card. So card new, and then I'll drop my project, the task, the cost, the budget, and the profit. Now, I don't want it to be in a row, so I'll go to layout, set the arrangement to single column, and then the maximum card should be 5. Okay, so with that, I can now bring it down here. I want it to be on this side, so I'll bring it down. Then I'll reduce the size of the callout values. So this will be 25. Okay, this looks okay. Now for budget, because it's a currency, let's go and select dollar sign here. We go to cost, we select dollar sign. We go to profit, we do the same. Okay, but I want it to be 0. I'll do the same thing for cost, 0. I'll do the same thing for budget, 0. Okay, so let me format this also further. I don't want the background, so I'll turn it off. I don't want the border as well. I'll turn it off. I'll use the accent bar. The position should be bottom. The width should be 1. And then the color should be 10% darker. Okay, so I can drag it here. The background from the size and style should also be taken off. Okay, so and then we need to bring in the images. So I have some icons. Let me quickly bring it in. Make sure the image is turned off. So you go to browse. I'll bring in that of project. Okay, I want it to be on the left side. So I'll go to position left of the text. Okay, and I want the size to be smaller. So let's say 30 or let's say 20. 20 or 25, 20. Okay, so 20 looks okay. Very good. Now, I think I need to change a couple of them. So I'll go to cost. I'll remove it first and browse it again. So for cost, I have this. For budget, I have this. For budget, I have this. For profit, I'll remove it, browse again. I have profit somewhere here. Okay, so now I'll bring in the gauge is here. I'll select budget utilization. Very good. My budget utilization should be percentage. And I don't want the data labels. Let me reduce the size. Budget utilization will be down here. I can copy and paste it. Let me turn off the background. I can copy and paste it. And just change this one to, so I'll go here, change the budget utilization to task completion. Okay, so task completion also should be in percentage. Okay, very good. For the percentage, I don't want any decimal number, so I'll make it 0. I'll do the same thing for budget utilization, also be 0. Okay, so I think we are done on this side with this. Let's go back here and look at what comes next. Okay, so here we have the cost and budget trend. So let's go back here. So I'll bring in the line chart. I'll select my cost. I'll select budget. Then I'll select month. Now, as usual, sometimes you see the month, they are not well sorted. So I'll select month here. I want to sort it by the month number. Okay, so sometimes it's not reflected. Sort by month number. Sometimes it's not reflected, so just remove it and select it again, and then you have it here. Okay, so for this, let's format. First of all, the title should be 12. Second, for x-axis, no title. And then I want this to be bold. For y-axis, no title, no values also. Okay. Now for legend, no title. Oh, I don't want the legend. Okay, so I would rather use the series labels for them instead of legend. So you can decide to use the legend or the series labels. So we have the series labels here. You can see them here. Okay, so I want to change the color of the lines. So the first one for cost, no, I think for budget rather, I use this color. So I'll go to color, then I'll change it to this. And then for budget, I use another color. For cost, I use another color. So let's go to cost, go to color, and then you change the color to this. Okay, so for cost, the width is 1. And then for budget, I left it like that. So let's now go to the join type. I want it to be, sorry, make sure you still have all selected here. Okay, so I'll go to the line style. Sorry, this one. Yes, this one rather. Smooth, or you can select step. It depends on how you want, whichever one you want to use. Okay, so I'll go with smooth, and this is what we have. Okay, so let me drag it here, and I want to turn off the background. So let's go to size and style and turn off this background. Now what we need to do is to just show which one is the highest when it comes to cost, and lowest. The same thing applies to the budget, highest and lowest. So we are going to create some measure to do that. Okay, so sorry, I'm not going to save now. So let's go to new measure. I have already demonstrated this in one of my videos, but let's go. So this will have main. So min max budget. First of all, I want to create a variable that will hold the maximum value. And to get the maximum value, I use the max xx to look through all selected, my calendar month number, calendar month, comma, and then I'm looking at the budget here. So budget. Okay, so I'll do the same thing to get a minimum, but before that, let's just go and see what happens here. So I'll go to return, then return the maximum value. Okay, so we are returning the maximum value. Okay, so let me drag and drop a table here. For the table, I'll select month. Okay, and then I'll select the min max budget. Now, but before then, let me bring in the budget itself and then the min max budget. So you can see it's giving us the highest one, which is 278. Let me sort this in descending order. You can see. So this is the highest one. So if I put this, let me select this value, this visual, and then select the min max, you will see that it is here. So this is our min max. Now what we want to do is that we will set all to blank, except when it is the same thing here. So here, let's set all to blank. So let me go back to min max, and what I want to do is, if this is value, so min max value. So here I'll just say if, sorry, it should be here, if min max value is equal to value budget itself, then return budget, else return blank. Let's look at this. So when we go back to our table, you can see. So for all others is blank, but here is the same, because it's the same, is returning the min max value. So look at it here. It's already reflecting. So you can see the maximum value is showing on top here. Very good. So we are going to do the same thing. Instead of creating another measure, I'll leave the two in one measure. So I'll create another one here. I'll bring it down. Okay. This one will be min. And then instead of max x is going to be min x. Okay. And then down here, what we want to do is to use another if. So if this is equal to maximum, do this. Else if main value is equal to budget, comma, return budget, comma, else if this is equal to this, return budget, else return blank. Then I can close it here. So let's go and check if that is also working for main as well. So you can see main is down here. You can see, and then we have the max up here. I'm going to do the same thing for the cost as well. So let's just copy what we have here. Let me copy this. Then we modify it. So new measure, and this is going to be min max for cost. Okay, so here we have cost, here we have cost. So what I can do is, instead of just replacing one after the other, I can just select this, Control Shift L for love. You see all budgets are selected. Then I can change it to cost. Then I press enter. So what I'll do is now to still select the visual here and add the min max cost. And this is going to work for this. Okay, very good. So what I need to do now is to go to the colors. So I'll go to lines, select that of budget. I don't want it to be red. So that of budget, min max budget. I don't want it to be this color, maybe something like this. Okay, and then for cost, min max cost, I want it to be rather be the other one, something like this. Okay, that's fine. You can choose to use whichever color is okay for you. Now we are done with this. Let me change the title to just cost and budget by month, or cost and budget trend. Okay, so we move to the next one, which is this. So let's go, and this is going to use a profit. So I'll bring in this. I'll select month, then I'll select profit. Okay. Okay, so for this, what I have to do is to, so for this, you can see that it's a bit different from what I have in the previous one. For this, I use the project profit, the overall project profit. But in this case, we are using the task. So therefore, may have some minus here. So you can still continue with the project profit. If you go to profit here, you can see that in our measure, we use the task status rather. But in the previous screen I show you, I use the project status. Okay, so we can go ahead. So what we need to do now is to format this quickly. So I'll take out, for the title, it's going to be 12. Okay, so for the x-axis, I don't need a title. For the y-axis, I don't need a title as well. Okay, and I don't need a value because I'm going to use the data labels. Okay, so here what I need to do is to bring in the data labels, and then the color of my the columns as well should be different. So I use this color, and also the layout, I increase it to 50%. Okay, very good. Now, these data labels, we don't want to show it for all of them. We just want to show for few. That's for the highest and the minimum. So let me first give it a background. I want the background to be this color. Okay, so we have something like this. Now let's go and create, and it's going to look like something exactly like this. So I have it already. I'll just copy and paste it. Then I can explain to you the difference between this and what I'm going to create for the column bar. So new measure, then I paste this. So you can see this is for minimum and maximum profit. So I did the same thing over there, just that in this case it's only profit. And then I grab the minimum value also on the profit. And then here, what I did is to compare the profit to the minimum. If it is the same, instead of returning the value which I did for the previous one, I return a color just to mask the data label. And then I did the same thing here. So if it is not equal, then it should be white. If it is equal, it should use this color. Okay, so let's go ahead and see what happens here. What I'm going to do in this case is to select the visual, then I'll go to the data label. In the data label, I'll go to value first. When I get to value, I'll go to color, select the conditional formatting. Then I'll go and select my min max profit. Then I'll click OK. So you can see that it's kind of faded. Now I'll go back to my background. Okay, so for the background, maybe I can just take it out. And this is what we have. So we have this and this. Okay, so what we need to do now is to make the value bold. Okay, so we have this and this. Very good. Now, the next one to do is very simple. Project count by project status. So let's go here. Project count by project status. So I'll go to projects and then project status. We have the project status here. Do we? Yes, we do. So project status. So you can see. Now I don't need the legend. Let's format quickly. The background in size and style should be turned off. We go to data labels. I want to show all data labels. Okay, so we have all here selected. So I can now drag and drop it to the top here. The title should be 12, just like I did for the previous visuals. Now I want to change the color a bit and also the size of the slices. So in this here, in the completed, I'll select this. Okay. In the be on track, I want to select something like this, just that I'll go again to more color and move a bit up somewhere here. Okay. Then I'll go to behind, select the same color, and then I can go to more colors. So I can go a bit up like this. And then for on hold, we can leave it as something like this. Okay, that's fine. So I'll go to the spacing, make it 85 or 80, should be fine. That's it. Very good. So we are done with this. I'll go to the next measure. And the next one is task by priority. So let's go. We are looking at task by priority. So I'll bring in the column is going to be the count of tasks by priority. Okay, so I rather use this. You can leave it as this. That's also okay. So I use this. So let's format it quickly. Okay, so y-axis title is off, x-axis values and titles are off. Okay, because we are going to use the data labels. So let's go to our data label. We enable it. Okay, so we give it a background. The color of our background is going to be this. Just that the transparency is 90%. I want the data label to be outside. So I'll go to the position, outside end. I want to change the color of my bars to, let me just go to function and use gradient. Okay, so this is it. I can paste the color here, the same color I use. So let me paste that color here. Okay, so I click OK. So we have this. It's going to add some legend. I'll remove it. So we have something like this. For the bars, I want to reduce the size a bit, maybe 50%. Okay, that's good. This is really not functioning the way I want. Okay, so let's go back here and see what is happening. Are we there? Okay, so all of them are positive. Maybe it's not making the, what I can also do is to go back here, add a middle color. Okay, so just try it again. Let's see what happens. Okay, so let me just clear it, give it my color here, and then I can go and select the individual. So I'll go to high, we'll maintain this. Medium, we'll maintain this, just that I'll go and change it here. And then I'll go to the low, then I'll go again to more color and make it a bit, yeah, something like this. Very good. Okay, the title will be 12. I have something like this. Nice. Let's go to the next one. Let's see what we have. Task by progress group. Now, for progress group, I need to create a group. So when you look at the progress, let's go to the table here. When you go to the progress, the project management table, let's look at the progress. So you can see, where is it here? So 62%, 85%. So what I want to do is to group them. So from 0 to 20%, from 21 to 40%, and so on and so forth. So let's go and do the grouping. I'll go to the project management table. I'll go to progress, right click, then I'll click new group. In a new group, I can change the name to progress group. Now I'll go, I want it to be list 0 to 20, then group. So 0 to 20%. Now from 21 to 40, I'll group it. So 21 to 40%. From 41, I'll press Control. I'm pressing 41, then Shift 60. You group it, and then you have 41 to 60%. Okay, from 61, I'll select that again. I'll go down to 80, then press Shift and click. All of them are selected, and then you group. So 61 to 80%. And then from 81 to 100% will also be grouped. So this is going to be 81 to 100%. Okay, so we click OK. So we have the group here in the table created for us. I will drag and drop. I will just copy and paste this rather. I'll copy and paste this here, and I'll replace what we have here. We have task by group. So we have the task already. Priority will change to group, progress group. Look at that. So we have this here. Very nice. Now, the next one, what did I use? In this, I use a table. I use a table for this. And I'm going to show you. It's a table and SVG. So I'm going to show you how that is done. I also make available that measure code. So here I use a table. I got this HTML code from Driven BI data channel, and it's a very good one. Credit to him. So let me get you the code so that we can quickly continue. So I'm going to create a new measure. So let's go and get a new measure. I'll bring in the table. Let me bring in the table. Okay, so the next thing to do is to bring in the task, the project type. I think so. Let's go here. We have the task by project type. So let's bring in the project type. So we want to use the percentage of the task. So there is, we need to create a new measure. And this is going to be task by project type percentage of total, actually percentage of total. So we want to divide. I've used this measure in most of my video tutorial. So first we use the task count, that's the task count. Then we divide the task count by using the calculate function. So we use the task again count here and filter it by all project management. Okay, so this is what we are going to use. So first, let me put it in. So task by project into the table. So you can see the percentage. Let me select it, make it percent. So you can see the percentage here. Okay, so now I want to use this to create that SVG. So let's create the SVG. I have the code here. I will make that also available for you to use. And here is using the task by project type percent. Okay, so project type percent. So this is the only thing you have to change there. So the first one is being multiplied by 200. The second one is just the test, so it's leaving it there. So you press enter. Then let's go and put it into the table. So I'll go here and select. Let me drag this here so I can see it well. Select the SVG. Okay, so we need to make sure the SVG is selected. Then you go to data category and you make it image URL. Okay, so you can see it here now. Let's format this so we can make it nicer. And also, I don't need this. So I'll take this out. This one will be maybe SVG because already I want to hide the header. Okay, so let's go to the formatting tool. The image size should be 28 and the width will be 100. Let's see, 120 or 150. Let's see how it goes. Okay, and then here the total will be hidden, so the value already should be white, the alternate background, and then the grid, no horizontal grid line. So I'll go to border. I'll change this to maybe white, or let me leave it as it is. I can maintain it. Okay, so the total will be taken off, so there's not going to be any total. Very good. So I can drag and drop this somewhere here. Okay, so yeah, so because I want to make it look like I'm using I want to make it look like I'm using uh, a bar chart, so I'll just hide the title. So I'll make the title, so I'll go to column headers. I'll make the text white. Okay, so we have something like this. Then I can go back and hide this uh, border, this line here. I'll make it white. So this is it. This, I can drag it a bit down. Then push the table up. Okay, so this is it. Very nice. Okay, so the next one is our shape map. So let's go here, the shape map. I'll bring it down here, and I'll go and select number of tasks, and select, I'll go to location, select the location. But also I want to make the location, it should not be in legend, it should be in location. Very good. So you can see them selected here. Now I'll go and format my shape map. Take out the background. The title should be 12, just like I did for the other visuals. And this, the zoom, auto zoom, this also. I'll go to the fill colors. For the color, I want to use my color I've been using. So I'll go to maximum, select this color. Okay, so for the blank areas, show blank areas, but I want it to be white, and then the border of that should be maybe 10% darker. So it's 10% darker. So we have something like this. Very good. So I can drag it down here. Then when you put your cursor on it, you can see the location and the number of tasks. You can add maybe the project, number of project to the tooltip. You can add the profit, you can add whatever you want so that you can see number of project. Okay, very good. So we are done with this. Let me make it bigger. Now the next one is to bring in a table with our project managers. So I'm going here, I'll bring in a table. So we have our table here. So let's go and see what is happening here. So we have the project name, we have the project manager name, the number of tasks, whether the task, whether it is overdue, the cost, the budget, the profit, utilization, and completion. The overdue is what we don't have. So we need to create the measure for overdue. But let's start bringing in the measures. So the first one is the project manager's picture. So if you go to project manager here, there is no picture for it. So let's go, and there is another table which has the pictures. So let's go and bring that in and merge it with the project manager table. So we have our project manager table here. So you can see the column names are actually down here as row. So just go here, select use first row as headers. So we have this here. And what I want to do next is to go to project, the dimension table, the project manager dimension table, select, go to home, select merge query. Okay, project manager, select PM images, we select the name so it matches, you click OK. And what we want to maintain here is only the project manager picture. So we select the picture, okay, then we can move on now, close and apply. Now that we've merged the image table with the other table, now we can come here and then start bringing in. So if you go to project manager now, table, you can see picture here. Let's make sure we select the picture column. We go to data category and we make it image URL. Okay, so now we go and select the project manager. Before then, we select the picture. Then we select the project manager. Okay, so we have the name there. We select the number of tasks. Now we need to calculate a measure for overdue. So let's go and create a measure. So I'll go to new measure. And then here is going to be overdue task. So I'll go down and then use the calculate function. First, we use the task count. And then we filter it by task status in the project management table. So task status, if it is not completed. So if it is completed, is 2. Okay, so if it is not completed, and also the end date has passed today. So end date. So the project management end date is less than today. What this is trying to do is it checks in the table the tasks that have not been completed. So we know that completed is 2. Status, when it is 2, it is completed. So we look at tasks that have not been completed, which date and date are less than today. Okay, so press enter. So we can bring in the overdue task. So we have the overdue task here. So for David, she has 3 projects that are overdue. Okay, so the next one is to bring in the cost. We bring in the budget, and then we bring in the profit. What else do we have here? Then utilization and completion. Okay, so utilization, we have budget utilization, SVG somewhere that has not been created yet. So we are going to create one so that we can use it. Okay, so before then, let me just format my table quickly. So I can go to size and style, background is off. Okay, so, and then for images, we can make it 28 or 30, and then the width is going to be something like, okay, so that will be handled when we bring in the other SVG. Okay, so for value, the alternate background color should be white, and then we don't want the grid line. Okay, so we take out the horizontal grid lines. So we have this here. This is looking super now. We don't need a title, we don't need a background. But before then, let me go here and change this color to something 10% darker. And then we go to total. We can take out the total as well. So I'll go to totals, then turn it off. So we have something that is looking a bit cleaner now. Okay, that's solid. Okay, so now I can remove this column here as picture, and then the project manager. Then we have the project manager, we have the task. So I can just name this one PM. So overdue task will be task. Okay, and then the rest look better. Okay, very good. So let's now work on our um, SVG here. Measures the utilization percentage and the completion percentage. Okay. So for those two, we have already this done. Where is it? Okay, so I can just copy and paste it. So new measure. Okay, for this one, so project utilization. Okay, so here we are going to use the project utilization measure that we created earlier. So project utilization, budget utilization. So sorry, this should be budget utilization. So budget utilization, and this is also going to be budget utilization. Okay, so this is it. So I press enter. We have that. Now I'll copy and paste the same thing. Create new measure. I'll paste it here. And this will be completion, task completion. So here we have task completion, sorry, task completion percentage. And this is also going to be task completion percentage. Okay, very good. I press enter. We have this. Please remember to subscribe, like, and share. If this is the first time you are watching, subscribe, like, and share. Okay, so now we can continue. So I'll select this table, put in the project completion SVG, and then I also put in the task completion SVG. Okay, so for the task completion, sorry, for the task completion SVG, this is budget utilization SVG. So what we need to do is to make sure task completion SVG is categorized to be image URL. And then also we do the same thing for budget utilization SVG. So I'll select that one as well and then make it image URL. Okay, so we have the two here. Okay, so let me just change the name. And then for budget utilization SVG also, I change the name. Okay, so now for this to be visible, what I need to do is to go back to image, maintain the height, and then the width maybe 120. Okay, so let me make it 100. So we can reduce this width, and we have this now. This looks okay. You can make it better. So this is what I have for you on the first page. Let's add the text box here for the caption. So this is going to be construction project management. It's a very simple one. So I'll go and select 20 as this, 20. Then I can change the color to my color. Then I can make it bold. Okay, so let me drag and drop this on top here. Okay, so I have the construction project management on top here. Very good. So I can change this one to overview. This doesn't have a title. I can just add a title to make it, I think that's by project type. Task by project type. Very good. Select all, make it bold. Then I can put it down here. I'll turn off the background. Okay. The color should be something like this. Very good. Okay, so I think we are done on the first page. The next one is to bring in the task timeline. Okay, so task timeline or project timeline. Okay, so for this as well, I have, I think I changed the background also to 800 as well for the height. Okay, so let's go to the canvas background. I'll go for this background, image and icons. I have the project timeline background here. I'll set this one to 0 so we can see it. Very good. So let's set it to fit. Very good. So the next one is to bring in the test filter. So for that, I went to get more visuals. Then I selected the test filter here. After that, you just click add. Okay, so it's confirmed to have been added successfully. So I can now drag and drop it here. I'll link it to the task name. Remember, our focus is the task. So I'll link it to the task name. Okay, or I can also link it to the project name. So let's drag it here. I don't need the title. I'll do a bit of formatting just in a few minutes. So I'll turn off the background. I don't need a title. I don't need a border. I can make this one 14. Okay, so you can search by the title. Okay, so okay. So the next one is to use the Gantt chart from Microsoft. So I'll go back here. I'll go to get more visuals. Then I'll search. I'll look for Gantt. And then I have this here, Gantt Microsoft Corporation. So I'll select this. Then I'll click add. The pricing is free. So I'll click add. Okay, so it's added successfully. I'll click OK. Then I can bring it in. Okay, so let me drag it here. Drag this here. Okay, so what does he expect from me? We have the legend, we have the task, we have the parent. So the task will be the task name. So let me bring in the task name here. We have the parent, which will be the project name. So I'll bring the project name here as the parent. We have the start date. So we have the start date here. We have the end date. So I'll bring the end date here. For the duration, it's not actually needed. So because we have the start and the end date already. For completion, I can bring in the progress. The resource will be the project manager. And then for status, I'll bring in the status, the task status name. So we have, that's for legend. Okay, so this way it is easier for us to filter. Okay, so you can see we have the project name here. We have the task on this side. For let's format it. So for the data type, I can make it monthly to show me month. You can see I can change it to year. You can see, okay, so you can see that we have 2 years, 2024 to 2025, and you see all the tasks and the project here. Okay, so let's do a bit of formatting. Set the background off. Okay, I still want to leave this to be month. Okay, I don't, for the data labels, I want this the data label maybe 10%. That's okay, I can leave it for now. For category labels, I want the width. This is the category label side. So I want the width to be maybe 200 for us to see what is here. Well, you can see. So you can increase it, maybe 300. Yeah, for us to be able to read what is exactly here for the project name. As for the task, we can still go back to the table and reduce the name. But you can also click here. You can also put your cursor here just to read what the tooltip is telling you. Okay, so let's also see what else can we format. This line here. You like the line, you can take it off. If you don't like it, display grid lines, you can turn it off. You see, so we have this now. So it goes all the way down here. Now let's change the position of our legend. So I'll go to legend. I'll change it to be top center. So you can see our legend on top here. I don't want the title to show, so let me turn it off. So you can see if you click completed, you see it shows only completed project. So you can see them here. Charlie, 100% completed. Okay, so what I can also do, what else? Maybe I can change the color of completed to be that color we've been using. And then in progress, can take the completed just that. We'll just go to more colors and make it a bit brighter. And then we leave the pending to be like that. And then what I need to do next is to bring this caption here into this task timeline. I'll paste it here. And then I need to navigate. So I'll go to insert. I'll go to buttons, navigator, page navigator. So I have my page navigator here on top. I want to format my page navigator. So let's go to star. When I go to star, by default, I want the color to be 10% darker. I don't want the border. I don't want the fill. And then I want the accent bar, but the accent bar should be down. Okay, and the width should be 1 if it is by default. And I want the color to be this by default. Okay, but if it is selected, then for that I'll go back to state and change it to selected. If it is selected, it should be the same. The font color to be white and border maybe 12. That is if it is selected. And also the accent bar should also be white, and then it should be maybe 4 or 5. So we know this is what is selected. Okay, so I can copy this and send it to the task timeline page. Copy and paste this. Okay, very good. So you can see if I press Control and then I click, it takes me to overview. When I press Control and click, it takes me to task timeline. Okay, so this is what I have for you. This is not fully complete. You can rework on the data. You can do something even far better and nicer than this. Remember to share, subscribe, and like. Thank you so much. Let's catch up next time.